Hello, I'm Janelle Shala, and in this installment I'd like to talk to you about black tourmaline. Now tourmaline is, as you probably know, comes in a variety of colors. With each color there's a slightly different chemical formula. There'll be like one added ingredient, and the magic ingredient in the case of black tourmaline is iron. So it's also known as iron tourmaline, or schorl, which means false ore. I have no idea why. I don't know what it's false for. Traditionally, it was used in mourning jewelry, similar to jet. We have a lot of uses for it in crystal healing and in space clearing, so it's one of the ones that I recommend to be one of your staples in your mineral medicine chest. I'll start off by showing you a small but very nice crystal here. You can see that it's got three sides. That means it's a trigonal crystal because it has a column, three sides. Comes to a nice three-sided termination or three-sided point. Just to give you an idea of how they form when they form well. They don't always form well, and you get a lot of different sorts of tourmaline. The price can vary tremendously depending on the quality. Tourmaline comes from a number of different places all over the world, but most of what you would buy in the shop, in a crystal shop, will be either from Brazil, from Namibia, which is the best, or from China. This is an example of the Brazilian tourmaline. It's not very well formed, but it's more than adequate for anything that you might want to do in the healing or space clearing realms. As far as space clearing goes, this is one of the best crystals to use for electromagnetic stress or electromagnetic radiation. It's one of the ones that's used between you and the computer, between you and the TV or the computer monitor, or in front of a base station for a cordless phone. It actually, from what I've been able to discern, it actually slightly lowers the amount of electromagnetic frequency that comes out of these things. So if you have an EMF reader and you use a piece of tourmaline between you and it, frequency drops slightly. I'm not the only one who's noticed this. This is quite widely accepted and quite widely tested. And this is to the point where there are people now developing types of fabrics that have ground black tourmaline in them, in order to block electromagnetic frequency from computers when you're working in an office or something like that. And you can see it's quite a large crystal, quite interesting from that point of view, and it has a double termination, a point at each end. Very interesting mineral. That kind of size is the sort of thing you'd use if you're using it in space clearing. Now, space clearing is when you use it between yourself and the computer, the TV monitor, the computer monitor, the mobile phone, etc., etc. I wouldn't use one of those on a mobile phone. Little bit on the large side, but you can actually get little tiny bits that you could take to the mobile phone if you want to. That particular one, I would use it sitting on a desk or something like that. Now, black tourmaline is one of the crystals we use most frequently for protection. That protection can be on many, many levels, but one of the things that we use it for is against psychic attack, or when we feel that we're somehow being bombarded by psychic or energetic attack, rather than somebody actually coming up and bashing you in the face. I'm very careful with the term psychic attack. I have a problem with it, not that it doesn't happen, but it's actually very infrequent. It's surprisingly infrequent. One of my teachers said to me that we don't allow anything to happen, or nothing can happen to us that we're not allowing on some level. And when psychic attack takes place, usually we're tied into the person who's attacking us on some level. Therefore, I'm very cautious with the term. However, if you feel that this is happening, if you feel that you're somehow vulnerable or somebody is deliberately trying to attack you, it's one of the best ones you can use. And you can place it in the window, small pieces of it in the windows. Great, perfect. That's one of the most vulnerable places in the house. You can wear a small piece of it or carry it around with you. Keep a larger piece by the bed. Larger pieces as well, I recommend by the computer. And one of the things that's happening these days is it's far more acceptable to use it in an office situation. So if you're worried about electromagnetic stress, bring it into your office. I'm going to show you now a very beautiful, nearly perfect crystal. This is one of the Namibian ones I was talking about. You pay a bit more for these, but they can be used in an ornamental way. And I use one, actually a cluster of one of these by my computer. It's a beautiful piece, and I actually bought it. This isn't it, by the way, but I'm showing you a cluster, a Namibian cluster, so you have an idea. I bought my piece as an example, like a collector's piece, and then I found I didn't want to just have it sitting there. I wanted it to be used. So it now sits between me and the computer, and it's great, it really helps, and especially when you've got a cluster like this, because it's dispersing the energy. Otherwise, just the very element, the very fact that it's grounding you can help you to stay calm and to release any sort of tension, energetic blocks, etc. So very, very good from that point of view. Fabulous mineral on many, many levels.